like Sneaky, imagine if like going to play XCOM and then you made it so that whenever your soldiers leveled
Oh,
up, they gained
I'm
no
aware.
stats.
I am fully aware. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, it appears we are successfully streaming over YouTube.
We're alive!
Warning symbol, error, your settings, keyframe interval. 8.
Oh boy!
What?
Oh boy, what pile of shit do you have for me today?
What the fuck? Oh, okay, enforce, okay, hold on. Fucking
Oh good, we've gone back to... Hey, don't forget to change the title, sir.
Yep, I know.
Well, I mean, then again,
okay.
we actually could probably just leave it with salt mining, but,
yeah.
Oh.
In Contempt Theater 9000. Community writing. Update information. Okay, it appears everything is properly working. Yep. We are green across the board on OBS. Let's see what Restream has to say for me. Come on. Get your shit together, everyone.
No, let your shit run wild and free.
Don't do that. Okay,
What's the worst
Restream
that could
has picked it
happen?
up. YouTube has picked it up.
Alright. We're coming to you live with the power of the internet.
Get the fuck out of here with your boogie shit! Okay, Twitch. So, okay, there we go. Twitch has fucking finally picked up the program. Which means it is Tuesday. I am here. You are here.
It's Friday.
It is.
It's Friday.
What? Fuck! Knew I shouldn't have done that cocaine.
Wait, shit.
It is Friday! You're here! I'm here! This asshole's here! It is time for Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9000!
The fuck out of the DeLorean. Listen, he's going to take his DeLorean and his cocaine, and he's going to go 88 miles an hour to go back to Miami Beach. In the 80s.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, good. I did get the name right. I was really worried for a second that I got the name wrong. I'm like, oh no, is everyone seeing my fuck-ups? And then I realized my entire life is a fuck-up, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, the player cards aren't available yet. Damn it.
Okay, so today we have Harry Potter and Fire Emblem, Elder Scrolls For Honor, and
wait. I thought we already did Harry Potter and Fire Emblem.
No, we didn't.
Unless you found more.
That was an option I gave you, and you guys decided not to take it.
Oh.
And since, well, I know Harry Potter, and you know Harry Potter, and you know Fire Emblem, and Max really wouldn't have offered any input anyway, let's do this one.
Works for me. Oh lord, I remember. Oh god, this one. Elder Scrolls For Honor.
Oh,
again?
yes,
No,
right.
no.
Oh, never mind. Yes, I forgot to remove that from the list. Don't worry. Yep, no, it was the same fanfiction. I have a list, and I didn't remove it. Blasting it out across all links, and sending it to you. Alright, let's get started.
Alright. Like I said, I won't be doing much reading this week because when I read on Tuesday, my voice disappeared. So
yep, no problem.
I'm trying to get that back.
Harry Potter, Fire Emblem crossover. The Fourth Kingdom by Frying Panay.
Panini? Panai? Panier?
When Kamui and the others jumped into Bottomless Canyon, they expected to end up in a new world, just not the one they landed into. Which doesn't make sense at all. We expect to land in a new world! We didn't expect to land in the new world that we landed in, though.
No. When they're jumping into this cavern, into this particular chasm, they know where it's supposed to take them.
I know, but I'm just commenting on the phrasing.
Yes, I agree with you. However,
like, don't say we expected to end up in a new world and then be like, oh, we didn't expect to end up in this new world.
Yes, it should have been when they jumped
in
there.
They didn't end up in the world they expected would be the better way to say it.
Yeah, something like that.
When the Valites?
Valites.
When the Valites and other villains appear, just how will the Norians and Hoshidans clash with the Order?
You almost got it, Hoshidans.
Clash with the Order and the Ministry of Magic.
Nor is essentially medieval Europe.
Okay.
And Hoshido is feudal Japan.
Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously, I just want you to understand what they're going to look roughly like.
Okay. Takes place in Order of the Phoenix and Fire Emblem Fates Revelations. So question here.
Yes.
Kamui and Ko. Is this like a group, a platoon, an army?
Okay, so Fire Emblem Fates, there's 3 paths.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just telling you, this is the path where, rather than siding with either of the families, your special little snowflake main character that you personally have designed says, "This is stupid. You should all come work for me." And because there's a world-ending threat, they're all like, "Fine, I guess we'll both follow you." And blah, 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 you're uniting the kingdoms, blah, blah, blah. Fire Emblem's always been kind of weird because it's implied that the characters have actual armies with them, but...
Only the characters ever fight?
Yeah, like, the characters only ever fight, like, they only ever fight nameless grunts, and usually every map has a boss. Sometimes there's a couple of special named enemies on there.
Uh-huh.
But generally, it's your special characters tearing through mooks.
Uh-huh.
But it's always implied
that, like, implied that the special characters that are tearing through the mooks actually have an army that should have been doing this in the first place.
Yeah, like, it's... And again, it changes from 1 to 1. Like, game to game. Sometimes it's implied that they're just, like, the tip of a spear. Sometimes they're all there is.
Okay. And in this Revelations, it's implied there's an army.
That's the thing. I haven't played through Revelation. I know what happens in it, but I haven't played through it. But assuming it's like the other ones, no. It's just the special main character and all the named characters that are with them.
Okay. So, Kamui and Ko jump through.
Yes.
Land in Harry Potterverse.
Correct.
What the hell is a Valite?
Okay, so the special, the special world-ending threat I told you about.
Uh-huh.
Basically, there's a world where space is non-Euclidean, and for whatever reason, the people in it are invisible. Most of the time. So, basically, imagine they all have active camouflage.
Right.
Most of the time you can't see them, but if you know what you're looking for, you usually can, right?
Okay.
And there's a crazy dragon who created the world, who's been sealed away in there.
Okay.
And once every, I don't know, 100 years or so, we'll say, he has a chance to come out and fuck shit up.
Okay.
The only way to get there is jumping into this canyon.
Uh-huh.
And so, depending on what point they're at in the story, they're either going into it for the first time or jumping into it prepared for a final battle.
I would assume it's the second time.
Yeah,
by the way
I
the
would
author's
too.
implying.
Yeah.
So he's saying that the creatures from this other dragon world is showing up in Harry Potter verse as well.
Correct.
And I'm guessing the Norians and Hoshidans are the two clans from the Fates?
Yes, they're the two kingdoms. And like I said, Nor is basically fantasy Europe.
Yeah, in fantasy Japan. Okay. So I'm asking all these questions because I'm trying to get to the bottom
I understand.
of
I understand.
how exactly they're going to manage taking entire fucking kingdoms and putting them into the Harry Potter verse.
Well, again, they're not taking...
surprise, they're here now.
I was gonna say, again, they're not taking... I don't know what they're doing with the Valites, but as far as Kamui and company goes, it's just people.
That's
not
what
kingdom.
I'm saying.
It's not
so
armies.
is he saying... Is he referring to company? Kamui and company when he's saying how the Norians and Hoshidans clash with the Order of Ministry and Magic?
Yeah, I assume they're referring to the quote-unquote main cast.
Okay, because again, his wording makes it sound like the clans are having a conflict with these people, not...
It does. Okay, and so just to set something up, each royal family has 4 kids, right?
Yep.
And each of those 4 kids has 2 retainers.
Okay.
So, assuming
16.
assuming they're only taking them, that's the cast you have to work with. Plus Kamui. And then there's all of Harry Potter.
4 kids, 2 retainers. That's 12 each. So that's 24 people plus Kamui?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, and that is assuming that they include no one else.
Okay. Hey guys, I've had this idea rolling around in my head, in the empty place called my head, haha, and thought now is the best time to at least start writing this fanfiction before I become too lazy again. Don't do this. This is me personally speaking from experience. Don't write down a chapter, because you're never coming back to it.
Like, if you force some...
Hey, I think I've seen that math question before in English class.
How many dogs have entered the facility? The answer is, knowing Fire Emblem, 15 dogs. Why are there dogs here? Because fuck you, you need a fight.
The rats are attacking. Why are the rats attacking? Because they have diamonds. Why do they have diamonds? Because fuck you, they're giant. Oh.
Behold, the dire rat! Pfft, it's just a rat. What? So, that rat comes up to my kneecap.
I was talking about the giant dire rat that's the size of a horse.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God, yes, those things.
Go forth, my mighty steed.
Oh, and let's not forget that owlbears exist.
Fucking goddamn it, yep. So anyway, yeah, don't write a single chapter out. If you actually really want to get a story down, and you know you are a procrastinator like I am, make the outlines. Write the whole thing. Because what's going to happen is, if you don't do that, yes, this is modded Skyrim. If you don't plan out your steps ahead while you're a lazy person, you're never going to write the next chapters, because you're like, oh, but then I have to plan it all out, and then you're never going to write it.
Yeah.
So, sit down, write out the outlines. Spend that time that you have as the energy of a lazy person to instead of writing a chapter, write the outlines for how the next couple chapters are going to go. And so when you get to your next burst of inspiration, you actually can write those chapters.
Yeah.
and then just keep repeating that process. Because if you don't think ahead, you end up like Devil Spidey here, who had to rewrite an entire section of his story because he forgot certain characters were in a certain place that can't be affected by certain things that they were affected by.
And then suddenly you have a problem.
Anyway. In this fanfiction, I won't be including any children characters. I am
Oh, thank God! I was terrified they were going to do that, because, just real quick. Okay, so Fire Emblem Awakening, the game before, well, no, it's 2 games ago now. There were children units because there was time travel. And it was a little weird, but it made sense, because they were coming from the future to save the past. So it's like, okay, this explains why the kids that are being born right now are here, and they're like, you know, from the ages of 16 to 20.
Yeah.
In Fire Emblem Fates, they wanted to include child units again, because child units were super popular.
Well,
but they weren't sure how to do it. So and I'm not kidding you, they took all the children and they put them in alternate dimensions to grow up safely, and those alternate dimensions just happen to have time pass faster inside of them than outside.
God fucking damn it, Japan.
Yeah, I know.
They're called child characters not because they're children, but because they are the children of the main characters that are in the story.
Yeah.
I'm going to be using the Fates cast, which, without children characters, is already 46 characters. Most of which
my
can be
God,
very
they're
bland.
using the entire Fates cast?
Yeah, most of which can be very bland, and I'll have to develop them more. If I'm going to add any other game's characters, it'll probably be later on, probably Awakening, 7, or 8. This crossover will be taking place during Order of the Phoenix. So this is even more important.
This author is suffering from a critical overload of ambition.
Yeah, so, little heads up here, folks. When you are writing a game like Fate, apparently, as a fanfiction, and it has a cast of 46 fucking characters, keep in mind they have paid authors of like 20 plus people for those characters. And they still turned out the way they turned out.
Which in most cases, for most of them, they were decent. Not great, but they were decent. Now,
so when you go, I'm going to include all 40 fucking 6 as a unpaid single person. You're setting
crazy.
Your story up for failure. You're not crazy. You're just setting your story up for failure. Because even with Max and I working together and sharing the workload when it comes to character development for fucking Dark Souls, it's still a massive undertaking for us. And that's like, what, 6 characters to each of us? Somewhere around that?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So, you know, don't sell yourself short, but seriously, kid, and anyone listening, you're not going to be able to manage more than maybe 4 characters in the limelight.
Yeah. Now, maybe you can manage this with, this Fire Emblem Harry Potter crossover. If you include it, like, that's the thing, like, even if they ignored the retainer, if they just took the children from both royal families, plus Kamui, that's still 9 characters.
And not only that,
plus Harry Potter.
Not only that, I was going to say, plus the Harry Potter cast. Because keep in mind, unless the Order of the Phoenix and the Ministry of Magic are going to be taking purely antagonistic roles in this story, they have their own cast of characters which must be used. So, like, by that, I mean, unless they are showing up purely for combat and conflict, those characters will also have to be developed in the story, and their reactions and whatnot to the various things that occur. Which means, even more characters you have to manage. And Harry Potter is the main character, and he brings with him some friends and some other side characters. And the Order of the Phoenix is filled with side characters and a main character, so you have to include them unless, again, they are in an antagonistic role. And now, you're also bringing the villains and the creatures from the Fate universe into Harry Potter as well, so you have to cover them as well. That is a lot of screen time to be shared through a lot of characters, and I can already tell, again, destined for failure, 2 chapters, 4K words. About 2K words per chapter. That is, unless he's doing 1 chapter per character.
Oh, and trust me, he's not. From my brief glance through this,
yeah.
He's not.
Like, we're sitting, Max and I, roughly right around a 15 to 18K chapter. And that's with the point of view and character development of 2 to 4 characters per chapter. 18K.
Yeah.
The
story I'm writing with Max is from the point of view of mostly 2 people with some occasional input from side characters. And we still average like 5 or 6K a chapter.
And that's with no combat, really. Most of it's just gag humor, and you're really not developing the background either.
No, because again, it's a joke story.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
It's like I said, gag.
Yeah.
Like... Anyway, so let's get this started. Kamui slowly stirred, trying to remember why her body felt so sore, or where she was. She was probably in Vala now. Kamui still had no idea how she was able to convince everyone to jump into the bottomless canyon. Glancing at the surroundings, missing commas here, Kamui found a few things wrong with the picture.
Here's a few things wrong with your writing.
No. A! Get the fuck out of here with that list! B!
That's
parentheses! Get the fuck out of here with those as well! C! That is a number 3. That should be 3rd. You lazy fuck!
And of course, they didn't write out any of the words. Just 1, 2, 3rd.
Yeah, welcome, Devil Spidey, to our typical fanfiction contempt theater, where we barely get to the fanfiction and spend most of our time ranting and raving, like old men yelling at clouds.
Because we don't want to read it. We know it's bad. It's a defense mechanism.
1. She didn't see anyone around her. 2. She was in the middle of a forest. Not the small patches of... That... Why?
What?
That is a disjointed sentence.
Yes, it is.
You would find around Vala, or one of the various floating islands that populated the sky of the Third Kingdom. Where the hell am I?
It's non-Euclidean in Vala, so...
Yeah. She wondered, wandering about the forest. With any luck, Kamui would be able to find... Is she referring to herself in 3rd person?
For some reason, yes. Even though the character never did that. Unless they drastically changed the way the character was written for the revelation path. That's not how that works.
She doubted they had landed in Vala, but if they did, everything should look familiar when she gets a better look at the surrounding area. I mean, okay, we're getting, like, so many fucking perspective changes here.
Like, pick a perspective. Like, if you want to change perspective, you shouldn't. But if you really, really feel it's necessary to change perspective in your writing, you can.
Yeah.
But you need to like pick a perspective and stick with it for at least a couple of paragraphs. Like,
it would be
okay,
hard
it's
not to
really...
recognize the place where the floating islands and invisible monsters were learned. Okay, so right there, it looks like that's some sort of commentary, like narrator commentary on the area, which is why in the Dark Souls story we made the narrator an actual character in the story. Because we did want to make comments on the Dark Souls itself. You know, the various silly things that are in Dark Souls because programming, and we really couldn't come up with a way to not do it.
You could probably turn rant mode off, by the way.
I'm ranting right now, though.
Alright, fine. Although I will say, you know, it is a little distracting.
I know. It's supposed to be.
Alright.
It's... You fucking made me lose my place, you fucking piece of shit.
Narrator, Dark Souls, comment.
Like, yeah, if you're gonna make comments like, I mean, like, how hard would it be to find this? As, like, a sort of narration comment about the area or what a character's doing or something, either A, don't make them, or B, fucking come up with a reason why the narrator would be saying this shit, or C, just make the character think it. Because right now, you picked none of those options, sir and or madame.
So instead, there's a magic voice making comments about things that exist.
Yep. Finally stumbling across an opening after what felt like hours, she wandered out into the open. Oh boy, that was a fucking awful sentence. If she had bothered to look around... Again, more commentary. Like, more narrator commentary. If she had bothered to look around before she ran out into the clearing, Kamui might have noticed the dragon. The very angry dragon. I'm not really sure you can not notice a dragon in a clearing that you're entering.
I was going to say, this is not D&D. There is not a critical failure. And even in a game like Dungeons & Dragons, even if you critically fail, no DM is going to be like, yeah, you just missed the dragon. It's
especially now that this girl, again, point of view switch, that strangely smelled like another dragon had wandered onto its territory. Yeah. Well, no flying continents so far. That's... Flying continents...
Yes.
Not islands, continents, like size of Europe continents.
I don't know because, like I said, I didn't play that path. Like, I know there are points where they're like they have to fight to get up to a castle, and then they have to fight inside the castle. So, like, I don't know the general size of the islands. Like, I know for sure that there's one big enough to contain a castle. So maybe there are larger ones. Maybe not.
Yeah, because continent denotes a certain size.
I am aware.
Or Valites. So maybe we... Again, I don't know if this was a formatting error or not. If you're gonna do thoughts, it's important to italicize them because A, emphasis on the thought part. B, in Britain they use single quotations to indicate talking. So unless it's italicized, it's gonna look weird to some people. Which, I mean, admittedly isn't a reason to do something, but there's other reasons there to italicize it.
Well,
so
like,
it's
for
just
instance,
like...
I would say primarily being that I think pretty much everyone is used to thoughts being italicized.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like one italicized word. That's emphasis. Multiple italicized words. That's thought.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Switch that back.
Strangely smelled like another dragon.
Another dragon. Of course it has to be a dragon. Are you kidding me? She exclaimed, immediately fumbling around for her dragon stone, calming slightly when she felt the round stone. Kamui
Yeah, so
transformed.
this is something you find out later in the game.
Kamui's dragon?
Well, no, you know that right at the beginning. So all of the royal families, their children are descended from the dragon god that made the world.
Okay.
Who also became evil and is fucking everything up.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, the bloodline is weak and deluded, and all they can do... Now, when I say all they can do, it is stuff like, oh, I'm gonna use the power of the dragon god to, like, make the river go away.
Oh. Okay.
Sorry about that. I was saying hi to my father. But so it's stuff like that, which it's huge, especially in a tactics game, but it's not that impressive compared to Kamui, who can turn into an actual dragon.
Yes, that would be more impressive.
But blah 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 stuff that no one cares about. Basically, if they don't have the dragon stone, the dragon nature can take over, and they just start going on a murder spree.
Always loved me a good murder spree.
Indeed.
And slammed and drowned by the other dragon. Well, crap, I guess there's no other way out of this other than to fight, she thought as she fought to get up and slammed into the other dragon with twice the force. Dragon slammed, scratched, bit, and fought. Is she, like, supposed to be, like, super fucking ridiculous strong as a dragon?
I mean, I don't know, because here's the thing. Like, they turn into a dragon, yes, and because they're descended from the dragon that made the world, technically speaking, they're a divine dragon, which in the Fire Emblem universe, divine dragons are stupid strong.
Yeah, because what you were saying is like, oh, it's diluted enough for them to delete a river from existence, or just move it far enough to where it doesn't matter. That indicates a significant amount of strength, and she's supposed to be stronger than that to the point where she can turn into an avatar of it.
Yeah.
Harry Potter dragons, while strong, are capable of being killed by a 15-year-old wizard. Alone.
Without help.
Yeah. Significant power gap there. Hi, Lost. I'm Devil.
Okay. Okay, so something I did miss out on, because I didn't play this. So I guess this is revealed in the Revelation path. Kamui was born to the Queen of Hoshido and the human manifestation of the divine dragon god.
Oh, okay. So, like, really close to being Avatar of Dragon. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she should be, like, 1v fucking this dragon.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Sneaky, they have so much power that whenever they get a critical hit in the game, assuming they're in the default class, they actually turn their arm into a dragon head to breathe fire at people.
Their arm?
Yes.
Into a dragon head.
That breathes fire. magic fire.
Fuck it, sure.
Personally, I think it's the stupidest fucking animation ever. But
Anyway, yeah.
I think
Barely
it's really stupid.
dodged the fire. Slightly miffed, she couldn't do the same. Slightly miffed, she couldn't do the same. Can't breathe fire.
Yeah. Apparently, they can only breathe fire when they're rampaging. I guess I'm not sure.
Oh,
It's
okay.
never been really explained.
Yeah. Used her wings, slammed into the dragon, lost his balance. She got an upper hand. Strange people in robes emerged in thin air around the dragons. They don't look like Valites. Why are they all holding sticks? Got her answer as a stranger.
Of course, they don't look like
red lightning
See,
bolts.
that's something I hate. It's like, oh, they don't look like Valites. Well, of course they don't. They're not, invisible and pink.
Yeah. While getting hit by one didn't really do much. It was wearing her down. She decided to focus on the other dragon since the humans looked nothing like Valites and she didn't want to involve civilians. Maybe they were firing spells. That's not how you get your fucking parentheses out of here.
Yeah, that's not how you do it in the
Despite
slightest.
what she heard, Weirdo saying, "What dragon is the Welsh Queen fighting?" Oh, of course she can speak their English.
Yeah. Why not?
Even though everyone in the Fire Emblem game speaks Japanese.
Well, I mean, maybe in Nor they do speak English since it's supposed to be Fantasy Europe.
Well, I mean, if it was Fantasy Europe, I would expect them to speak Latin instead.
True.
Because, I mean, keep in mind, Britain was settled by the Romans.
Okay, yes, but modern English... No, we're not getting into a discussion about this. Keep reading.
Get the fuck out of here, Devil Spidey. I will beat you with my own fucking subtitles.
Alright, calm down there, Deadpool.
Not sure. I've never seen anything like it. This was becoming too much for her to handle. Backing up to the edge of a cliff, now defending from both the other dragons and the spellcasters. Soon the other dragon was lumbering off, not wanting to continue as the spells continued at both of them.
Oh my
She
god,
felt
that's
herself
so badly
slowly
written.
losing consciousness. She felt herself glowing over the cliff, transforming, landing in the water, and everything went black. Okay, A. Falling off a cliff and landing into water does damage to you.
A lot of damage,
significant
actually.
amount of damage to you.
It depends on how far you're falling. It's not
B,
good.
if she ended up in the Dragon Reserve in Romania, as it is quite specified in canon, that is one of the few Dragon Reserves. In fact, there isn't one in Britain, Scotland, Wales, Ireland. The closest one to work at was Romania, which is why Charlie's in Romania and not, say, somewhere closer. Now, obviously, fanfiction authors have said, oh, well, there's others here, and he just didn't want to be near his family or something. And that's fine. However, you lose even more points if you're doing a Harry Potter AU crossover with the point of view being from the Fire Emblem characters. Anyway. So as I was saying, Romania. Romania is a landlocked area. There's no cliffs to fall off into rivers. There's probably cliffs. Sorry, water that won't kill you. By the way, I'm talking about deep water because you know you're falling off a cliff. Yeah. So as I was saying, get your locations right. Don't just be like, oh, there was a cliff there. So, normally if it was like, oh, she encountered a dragon, I'd be like, okay, she encountered a dragon. Because there's dragons in the wild in Harry Potterverse. They're rare, but they're there. I would be like, okay, she's fighting a dragon. Fine. But then wizards showed up like 5 minutes in, which makes me assume it's in a dragon reserve, because otherwise, why the fuck would it not be already in a dragon reserve if they knew where a dragon was?
Now, could you say...
Could you go, oh, it's an AU where they didn't move dragons? Again, yes, you could, but again, you're going to lose points for doing a point of view from Fire Emblem into a Harry Potter AU.
I mean, you say...
In general,
say,
when you're doing
getting
crossovers...
ready to apprehend it? Yeah, you could, but then you'd still lose points for fucking Deus Exing it.
Yeah. In general, when you're doing a crossover, at most have only one AU, and if you're going to have one AU, at most, do it from the point of view of the AU. So if it's going to have AU shit going on, and you're going to do it from the Fire Emblem point of view, it's got to be a Fire Emblem AU. If you're going to have a Harry Potter AU crossing over into Fire Emblem, it's got to be a Harry Potter point of view. Not the character itself, but the universe.
Because it's important.
Because when you start describing different things, you have to keep in mind you are one fanfiction among literally tens of thousands. If you want people to read and remember your story, you have to acquiesce to certain things. One of those is making it easy to pick up your story again. Because you are not a published book. You cannot rely on people just remembering all the shit you changed up. Unless the story's focusing on all the shit you changed up. Anyway, go ahead. I should have turned rant mode on.
But I have nothing to add. Just continue on so we can be done with this.
Later, in a commuter town, missing comma, by London, most people were gaping at the sight around them.
Okay, first off, I gotta ask. What the hell do they, what the hell do you mean by commuter town? I understand what they mean by a commuter town, but it's so easy.
Yeah, just look it up say now. A town name. Like, this is so little research put into it. It's pathetic. Two strangers walked the streets, one on a horse, both men armed with swords. The one on a horse looked almost like a medieval knight.
Oh, sweet God, I didn't notice that when I breezed through this.
You have 2K words in your chapter. You have no excuse for grammatical and spelling errors when you have 2,000 words to check over. In an 18,000 word chapter that Max and I wrote, we had one spelling error and 3 commas missing in 18,000 words. You, sir, have committed more grammar and spelling errors in 200 words than we have in 18,000.
Yeah. By the way, Sneaky, I'm going to put 2 pictures in recording just so you can see for reference what the 2 guys on these horses are on the horses supposed to fucking look like. Number 1 is, I think you can tell who's supposed to be who based on their garb, but pretty sure one of these 2 would have elicited some comments, maybe a police officer or 2, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, make someone comment on, like, oh, that's really good, you know, fucking,
like,
LARPing or whatever, I don't know, man. I don't know. In black armor.
Or someone calling the cops on the crazy people, because I'd like to remind you, they have swords.
This is London, actually.
This is London, and you have a dude in a purple cape with a sword that's glowing with purple energy.
Yeah.
Assuming it's out of the sheath, and you have a dude. Well, first of all, frankly, with ridiculous hair, in what looks to be full samurai armor with with an electric katana. Somebody needs to be asking questions.
Yeah. Another thing to keep in mind: this is London, Britain. And they're really strict on weapons in general in Britain.
Yeah.
Like, you have to fucking get a permit to get, like, a certain size of steak knife or larger. That's an actual thing.
Yeah.
Last I checked. So... big fuck off sword? You're gonna get arrested.
And not only that, it's two guys on a horse with big swords.
Yeah. Anyway. And then they're missing more commas here. Companion with long spiky hair, lobster costume, samurai, Lysander, down at Roma, Kamui, planes, floating island, gawking civilians, very true. Where are we? Rockford. Where is that? London, England. That's...
Okay, so...
That's not how locations work.
Like, first of all...
Very few places can get away with that sort of things. Where are we? The Bronx. Where's that? New York, New York. Okay. Because New York City is large enough to have subsectors. I would assume Chicago's somewhat similar in that way.
I mean, there are the quote-unquote, like, there's North Side, there's South Side, but nothing really divided up firmly like the Bronx or Queens.
Like, even hell, Philadelphia has an extension. It's called Camden now. It used to not be that. It used to be like just a commuter town, I guess you could call it. It's now Camden. And it's not considered part of Philadelphia anymore. It's also in its different state. But
yeah. Well, it's like this would be the equivalent of someone being in a town outside of like Boston. And it's like, oh, where are we? We're in blank town. Well, where is that? You're by Boston. Like...
yeah, it would be, like... just remove London, England.
Because first of all, they're not in, like, first of all, the author needs to make up their mind. Like, are they in London? Are they not in London? Because the way this person's saying, it sounds like they're in London.
Yeah. What's the year? Are you serious? 1995. Do ask questions by locals. A traveling circus. Swords, real. Riding horse. Lobster. Where are you from? They managed to dodge those questions. Police?
I was gonna say, it doesn't matter what town that... if they're in London, police would have been there. I'm pretty sure average response time would be a couple of minutes. Because it's a big city.
Yeah, it's a big city, but they also have a decent amount of patrols.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's a tiny commuter town, the response is going to be even faster. Because someone's going to be like... obviously, this isn't how it works in England, but in America, it would be, hey, Sheriff, hey, Sheriff Sneaky, there's some dudes with swords downtown. You should probably check that out. Yeah, I probably should. I'll be there in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Girl ran away from a nearby area. Everyone looked. There was nothing there. The Valites decided to make their appearance.
Their non-appearance.
Okay, so again, this is the problem I have with this. I'm fine with using, oh, they jumped through this dimensional magics and they ended up in a dimension they didn't think they would. I'm fine with that. I love that. That is crossover fodder.
It's so easy to do because it's like, yeah, cool.
However,
dimension hopping isn't an exact science.
There is no reason for the dragon and his little minions to be in this dimension. They are in their own dimension. They jumped into a thing that thought they were going to go to that dimension. It was magic and they didn't, and now they're over here. There is no reason for that dimension to suddenly also be in this one. You know?
Yeah, like if they had just said, "Oh, they jumped in and maybe they jumped in a little bit late. Maybe it was closing. Maybe something shifted out of alignment." What, there's a million things that he could be saying.
Yeah. There's no reason for invisible fuck yous to show up and start killing people besides Deus Ex Machinas of why the heroes of Fire Emblem need to work with the Ministry.
And quite frankly, author, that's lazy and you can do a hell of a lot better.
Lucy Dussel, aggravating day, unknown dragon discovered in Scotland. Again, this is my point. What was a dragon doing in Scotland?
Now, maybe it's a random dragon in Scotland. Fine.
But the wizards
Makes no
clearly knew it
fucking
was
sense.
there. We've heard this before.
Yeah.
Semi-invisible soldiers attacking commuters. Who is defending them? 2 men. Then an arrow missed her face. And Lucy did a 180 back into the Ministry. No. Just
the defeated no.
like what do you want me to say here? It's bad.
It's bad, you're wrong.
Even with my
That's all there
rudimentary
is.
understanding given from you to me about this story, is still fucking dumb. I guess it would have been sort of cool if the main cast ended up in the Harry Potter verse, but I don't see the reason why they needed to bring the villains along.
Like, yeah, like, the kind of people that each of these people, supposedly are, they'd be like, oh, well, we're here, like, the characters from both games on both sides routinely go out of their way to help people.
Yeah.
And, sure, the people from Nor are a little bit colder, a little bit harsher, but that's because of a terrible upbringing with a terrible father who was, it's the typical evil fantasy dad who's all about strength, blah, 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 blah. Then it's turned out he's a demon, right?
Oh, so... Yeah. Germany.
I was gonna say, you know exactly what you don't know what happened, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Germany.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes. Anyway. But, especially people like Xander, he's the crown prince. He has a very specific idea of what that is, and that is helping the little guy, doing his best for everyone.
Yeah.
Because that's what the prince is supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
So, they'd hear about Voldemort and the horrible things he's doing, and they'd be like, cool, we're on board. We will help you stop this fuck. Because he sounds like a bad dude. We'll help you stop him. You don't need to bring extra antagonists. And if you want to bring the evil dragon god and have him, grudgingly make an alliance with Voldemort, sure, there's some interesting possibilities there, especially for when they inevitably betray each other. But...
Well, I mean, my main problem... This is a common trap that fanfiction authors fall into, I've noticed.
Uh-huh.
I've talked about it before, and it's the... There should be a Dovahkiin. The common trap is if Harry Potter gets a lightsaber, Voldemort has to get a Death Star. Well,
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. That's the point. While it's all nice and good that the villain suddenly got a power-up as well, so you can basically still have the same sort of conflict-ridden story that you started off with, the point of giving a person a power-up, like, I've seen it pulled off really well. I saw one story, Harry Potter, saw a rerun of Star Wars one day on TV from his cupboard, and was like, wow, lightsabers are swell. Learns he can do magic. He's like, okay, well, I want to make a fucking lightsaber.
'Cause I can do magic.
Yeah. And so, like, 3 years pass, and he succeeds. He makes a lightsaber. Not only that, he starts meditating and shit. And because fuck you magic, combined with willpower and the belief that it'll work, he starts being able to do shit like the force push and force pull and shit.
Right.
And it's like, okay, this is cool. And like, I'm saying this is a good version of Voldemort getting a Death Star. Obviously he doesn't get a Death Star, but Voldemort, is like, sees the lightsaber at one point, he's like, holy fucking shit. And, it's like, minions, what the fuck is that? How can I get one? Why does he have one? Spy on him and shit.
One yet?
Yeah. So, Draco or someone spies on Harry meditating and follows him to his hidden area where he has his blueprints for what he did to make the lightsaber and his guide to meditation that he has, and he steals them and gives them to Voldemort, and Voldemort follows them and refines them and puts his own dark twist on them and gets the dark powers, the Force lightning and shit.
Yeah.
And gets his own lightsaber, and that's good. That is a well-written power-up. However, I've also seen shit where it's like, I use the Force because it's a really easy one.
Yeah.
I've also seen shit where, Harry discovers the Force, and it's like magic, but sort of not really, but sort of is. And Voldemort's like, haha, I knew about it the whole time, and I'm a dark Sith Lord, lightning hands. That's dumb.
What's the point of that?
Yeah. It's literally because hero gets power up, villain must get power up too.
Like, that's not how it works out. Like, just another Harry Potter one. Inquisitor Caro.
Ah, yes.
Harry Potter comes back with massive, stupid, overpowered 40k abilities and proceeds to start wrecking everything. Because Voldemort's got nothing's changed for Voldemort. Voldemort's still Voldemort. Yeah. Only now he's fighting basically a space marine wizard.
Yeah.
So he's going to lose.
Yeah.
Badly.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And then Voldemort gets desperate, finds a book, starts doing demon shit, and it's like, that's good. The author led up to that, hinted heavily at this world being the past of 40k.
As it traditionally has been.
And, oh, the demons came from somewhere. Oh, they also came from Earth. Yeah. It made sense. It worked. It was appropriately timed. It wasn't just, oh, because Caro showed up, also demons under Voldemort's control. It was, no, Voldemort's losing. Voldemort gets desperate. Voldemort starts doing fucking really desperate things. Voldemort gets demons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other type of poorly done power-up I've seen is when people try to do realist stories like we're doing right now, Max and I with Dark Souls, we're trying to do a realistic quote unquote take on Dark Souls, in terms of like, okay, you know, this character is basically the god of death. They're gonna be fucking terrifying. You know, or this guy has been literally researching magic and how to empower his soul for the past 1,000 years. He's going to fucking wreck shit up.
Because that makes sense.
And that makes sense. But I've seen stories like Naruto is a big set
Oh
of
god, Naruto.
where they're like, oh,
I got such power creep problems.
yeah, like they're like, oh, you know, we gotta write the Jonins are realistically stronger than the Genin, and so it makes like the Jonins move like 120 miles per hour and shit. Like, okay, yeah, sure, they do, whatever. However, the problem then comes is that Naruto moves 20 miles an hour, and so Jonins can insta-give him, regardless of whatever power-ups he might have. Getting your head removed... If you're moving
20 miles an hour...
Yeah, getting your head removed by something that moves 5 times your speed, 6 times your speed. Like...
You can try to defend against that. It's not gonna work.
Which is why in most Naruto stories, unless they power creep the shit out of Naruto really early on, a lot of good authors tend to really not focus on the power levels of Jonin and versus Naruto, and they go with the typical Naruto chain of, oh, because it's Naruto, he'll get help and he'll ass pull, and I mean that's what you expect from Naruto, and if they keep with that, then I mean it's not
no
gonna
one
be
cares.
Worse. Yeah. It's not like you're somehow going to be doing worse. and so, like, you have to be careful with it. Like, if you're going to try and do a realistic version, you can't then ass pull as to why the hero still won. Which is
again,
one of the reasons why the Dark Souls story we're writing is taking so long. Because we have to fucking sit down and be like, okay, how the fuck are they gonna beat this thing?
Yeah, and this is just another thing. You know, guys, it's okay if you want to write a story where the hero gets whatever the power-up is.
Yeah.
And then goes to stomp the villain. Well, that's okay. You can
that actually
still
makes
write
good story. That
yeah,
actually makes good story.
You can still do interesting stuff with that.
You know, I've seen, like, obviously hundreds of stories, because I've favorited hundreds. I've seen hundreds of stories where character gets power up and it basically turns into a stomp. Now, obviously, you're going to have to put a little bit of effort in to make it more interesting in areas other than combat versus the main villain, because it is going to be a stomp.
But hey, you just included this fancy new power. You can probably do something with that.
Yeah, you can make it about the characters, you can make it about character development, you can make it about the repercussions of it. You can make it about a bunch of other things than just the main storyline of hero versus villain. You know, there's a lot you can do with it. And it's something I see a lot of fanfiction authors succumb to, is that they get locked into the idea that if it's a Harry Potter story, Harry has to fight Voldemort, and Voldemort has to prove a challenge to Harry.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't. If you write it correctly, he doesn't have to. He's got lots of, and specifically the Harry Potterverse, he's got lots of shit that makes him a challenge regardless of the power-ups. Like his fucking Horcruxes and shit. But...
Because, like, for instance, you've given Harry Potter a lightsaber. Dope. That still doesn't solve the Horcrux problem.
Yeah,
but just give them another way to
still immortal.
Like, does it give them an easier way to kill a Horcrux? Probably, but that's about it.
I mean, can he kill Voldemort easier? Probably. They still have to find them. They still have to, they still have to do shit. But yeah, there's not much more that can be said by me on this.
Yeah,
we've
beat this to death pretty much.
It's just a really big problem I've seen, and so which is why I spent so much time just talking about it.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the next piece of trash.
Yep. So let's move on to the next story. This is a Kamen Rider Rosario Vampire crossover. And I specifically chose this because it looks like shit.
Kamen Rider? I have not heard of that one.
You've never heard of Kamen Rider?
Nope.
Think of it as the prequel, the spiritual prequel to Power Rangers.
Gotcha. Okay. I was gonna say, the only rider I know of is Moomin Rider, who deserves your respect and love.
Basically, in the later stage, originally he was a Nazi experiment. In the later stages, in the modern iteration of Kamen Rider, the main character somehow acquires this biological suit that transforms him into a superhero, basically, and it lives inside him.
Gotcha. It's the Venom symbiote.
What's the fanfiction of? What do you mean, Devil? Spidey?
Alright, anyway, moving on so that we're keeping the air alive. Gotcha.
It's a fanfiction of Kamen Rider and Rosario plus Vampire. Rosario plus Vampire is its own fanfiction. Not fanfiction. Is its own universe. Literally, it's a story about a vampire who has a Rosario on her neck.
The end.
Yeah. Kamen Rider I already explained. Main character of Rosario Vampire is Suthner. The main vampire of Rosario Vampire is Mocha. Rosario W. What if Sukune wasn't the only human to enroll? What if
what are these stupid fucking plots again?
What if 2 teens joined him? But these teens have a secret of their own and enemies that will pursue them. Will Yokai Academy survive?
Yes, because it's in its own special pocket dimension guarded over by a literal demigod. It'll be fine.
Yeah, no, this is a sleepy story. Might even fall asleep while doing it.
Oh, Jesus, I don't have your number. I'll have to be like Max. I need you to wake him up.
There we go. That's my feelings on this story.
Yeah, we can probably just breeze through this one. My problem is, I've never seen Rosario. I've not seen it.
Yeah,
but I've seen enough of these fan fictions, and I've read enough of the summary to know that there wouldn't just be 2 other random humans showing up at this, because it's not a place you accidentally go to. It's a place you are invited to.
Yeah. Indeed. I want to create a fan fiction using an OC that a friend and I created. Oh boy, you know that's quality.
Oh boy.
Please note that the two of them will not have access to Gaia Library and Extreme Memory. I don't want to make them too overpowered, and accessing the library makes it too easy for them to kick monsters' ass. I'm gonna try and not use too many major canon villains from W, but I'm probably gonna use canon memories. That means the Sonoxy family won't be the main villains, but Foundation X will. Also, two canon halves of W won't exist either. Instead, W will be the two OCs.
Alright, there's
You know what?
there's a bundle of wrong here.
Fuck this, because multiple reasons. We're not even rant mode on. We're not even gonna fucking read this story because of the author's note.
Before you start your rant, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Go to the author's profile, rant on that, and then come back to this rant.
Oh god, no.
Yes.
I am the renegade Time Lord known as the Nightingale. My original Gallifreyan name is...
Complete nonsense.
Or Rutrol for short. Back on Gallifrey, I led a dull, uninteresting life, working as a professor of interstitial.
I'm pretty sure that's not a word.
I'm pretty sure they thought they were going for interstellar, but interstitial physics at Arcalian College, but now I travel time and space in search of adventure. Okay, part of the whole Doctor Who series was that Doctor Who didn't think like every other Time Lord and actually wanted to go out and have adventures, and that like every other Time Lord had a fucking stick up their ass.
Except for literally one other one, who was a complete psychopath, the Master.
Yeah. My Type 66 TARDIS is currently stuck in disguise as a Greek column. My latest traveling companion is a bright-eyed, easily confused English teacher from 1968.
Oh, what's this at the top? Harry Potter, the Visored Pairing, final round. Oh boy, Sneaky. I think I know what we need to go look at now. It's being handed to us on a silver platter, boy. Now, granted, the platter is covered in shit, but it is being handed to us.
Okay, so before we start fucking just ripping on this guy for the next hour, I'm gonna go back to his original story and say why the fuck we're not doing this story, and then we're gonna move on to this asshole in general and say just fuck this guy in general.
Can we leave a review of just the author?
I wish, but no. Okay, so why we're not doing this story?
Oh boy, Sneaky. We definitely have to look at the new one now. It was updated 15 hours ago. We have to go look at that. Carry on.
The fuck was that sound?
What?
Something hit the... Nothing.
It's Florida. It's probably someone on drugs.
Okay, so... I don't know much about Kamen Rider, but from the information I got from the author himself, in this author's note, A, you're replacing the main characters with OCs.
Which is never good.
Which just, frankly, do not do unless it's like a Mass Effect fanfiction, at which point the main character is an OC. So, you're penalized on that. Then you're being penalized on nerfing the main characters so they're not, quote, too OP, then don't give them that power in the first place. Oh yeah, well you see, my characters are basically gods, but I decided that them being gods would be too strong, so they're still gods, but they just can't affect anything in this universe. Kindly take a cactus, bend over, and anally insert it. Anyway, moving on past that, I'm not going to use canon villains, but I will use canon backstory. Fine, we've talked about this before, the whole thing of crossing over and the blah blah blah. Okay, so you're going to use the secret Nazi Foundation, but you're not going to use the Japanese Mafia. Fine, that's your prerogative. However, go fuck yourself. I hate you. And finally, you're putting these two peoples into the Monster Academy. I don't really care how they end up in the Monster Academy. If they ended up in the Monster Academy, there's no reason for Sukune to end up there. Sukune was like basically the last choice for this guy.
The only reason he's there, is because he needs someone, and this kid might work.
And he was literally unimportant enough. This gets admitted, I believe, at some point in the manga as well. He was literally unimportant enough that if Sukune died, he could just try again with another human.
Because no one would notice or give much of a care.
So literally, you're breaking the plot of both of the fucking canons you're working with. You've just bent over and ignored the main plot of both of them.
Good job.
Then you replace the main characters with your own fuckboy creations and said, yeah, they have all the powers of the fucking Guyver suits. I believe that's what they're called.
Oh, except for a couple, though. We don't want them to be...
Except for a couple, because that make them too strong. Okay, we'll go, again, anally insert a cactus. Back to this author, though. A, fuck people in general who LARP as a Time Lord. It wasn't cool at any point in time. It wasn't funny at any point in time. You are literally the most unimaginative shit in existence. If you're like, oh yeah man, my main OC avatar online is a Gallifreyan Time Lord. So literally a person who can have any power that they want because Deus Ex Machina with any personality that you say so because rebirth. Yeah. Man, you really flexed those creative muscles. I'm salty every day. It just bubbles up sometimes.
Sometimes. To be fair, this author has also caused emotions of mine to bubble to the surface. Oh, sweet God. Sneaky. This is a recent update to their profile.
Yeah.
Now, you see, there are a couple of possibilities with who this human being is. This human being joined in 2011. They updated their profile as of last year, and they have not seen fit to change that in the last year, even though they updated a story 15 hours ago. So this is by no means a dead account.
Yeah.
Now, either this means there was a small child who was watching Doctor Who when they shouldn't have been, and created a fanfiction account when they shouldn't have, which is possible, and they're only just now getting out of their edgy teenage years, which is why this is still around. Or, what's more likely, someone who was, I would say, 13, 14, sneaky, joined the site, and they made their super, not necessarily super edgy OC, but they made their super unimaginative OC with their terrible stories, with their self-inserts, and they've continued doing that for the past 6 years.
Yeah. See, my main problem with this is I hate toonies. And I'm glad Japan made a fucking word to describe these people. I hate toonies.
Please, what is a toonie?
You know, behind this eye patch, it holds back my secret demon lineage, and I can never take this eye patch off, or else I'll transform into a demon god. Those people, or, within this arm I hold the blood of a dragon. Those people.
I thought those people were just lazy.
No, I'm talking about the people that, like, go to high school believing that. Like they hold back every day a demon inside them with holy chains. And if they ever waver in their will, the demon will get free and start slaughtering people.
Yeah.
Toonies typically described by their avatars as trench coats, katanas, nothing personal kid teleports behind you.
Yes. I was gonna say, and yeah, everyone goes through like a thing and has to like, oh, I'm just trying to hold myself back, man. Everyone goes through that for a little
bit. Hold me back, man! Come on, hold me back, man! I'll mess you up! I fucking loved that episode of College Humor.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, none of those people have been in a real fight. Like, and I've been in like 2, maybe 3 fights in my life. Maybe.
I've been in too many.
Yes, I am aware you grew up in Jersey. I went to a private school. That didn't happen to me. But, none of these people have been in a fight, and as soon as you hurt them, even a little bit...
Yeah, they'll whine and complain and be like, I'm unleashing my ultimate power, burning finger, and then nothing
Meanwhile,
happens.
I'm just gonna kick them in the fucking nuts and laugh.
Yeah. So, toonie, that's an actual thing. It's people that believe they hold inside them some sort of power or reincarnation or...
That nonsense.
Yeah. It appears Devil Spidey had some sort of revelation.
Yeah. Like
Cartman in South Park.
No, they actually believe it.
Yeah. Toonies are like...
Imagine a weeb, now take it a step further.
No, it's not even weeb. It's like... Imagine a goth crossed with a LARPer. Except they actually believe it. And that about sums up a toonie. Fantasy goth crossed with a LARPer, and they actually believe it. Oh, fighting and acting like a bitch, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, no, toonie, yeah. Fantasy goth. Yeah. I dislike those people because there's the reason why they're called toonies isn't because they're in that phase, it's because they haven't moved past that phase.
Yes.
And in Japan, this is an actual thing, which is one of the reasons why the words were actually made to describe these kinds of people. They're the kinds of people that will show up with that. You've ever seen an anime where they'll have like that really interesting, like around the head eye bandage? Not like a wrap, but like an eye patch, cloth eye patch with like a string going around the back of their head. Yeah, they're like in Japan, kids actually show up to school with it. That's why that's a thing in animes. It's because kids actually show up to school with that on, and
what
like
fuck?
that are like, but in this eye, there's an angel sealed inside. Don't make me unleash its power upon you. Yeah, Japan has produced very weird children.
They also have all the girls with princess syndrome.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about this sad sack of a human
Anyway.
being.
And the other thing about Chunies is they can't help but project their chuniness onto their characters that they create.
Well, of course, because I'm such a great person, and therefore my OCs will be great, because my OCs are me.
Like this, right here. This is a Marvel Sekirei crossover. The mutant Ashikabi, a mutant. A human born with the X gene, granting him superhuman powers. When this mutant escapes and finds his way into the Sekirei plan, you can bet that chaos will happen.
Now here's the thing. If we ignore the fact that the author's trash, this idea in and of itself, that actually sounds interesting. Taking one of the X-Men and putting them in there.
Except it's an OC.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
okay, there the fuck it was again. What the fuck is that?
I don't know. You remember when your OCs were based off Duke Nukem?
Oh,
yeah.
It's a firework.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
No, it'd be more like...
out of that.
Do you know Sword Art Online, Devil Spidey?
Oh, here we go.
Because if you do... it's basically your OC, your main avatar OC is Kirito, but with less personality and edgier.
Oh, and the inability to make mistakes. And when they do make mistakes, either no one calls them on it, or they can fix it immediately.
Yeah, by unleashing a new power that they held within them. Or, you know, their sword had the spirit of an angel inside it or something.
Or they're a fallen angel, or they're an angel that was kicked out of heaven, or they're a demon that wants to redeem themselves, or
yeah.
The list goes on.
Oh, Japan.
When you say, I want to take a minute...
If you have an OC based off of Duke Nukem, that's not edgy, that's just fucking hilarious. I mean, it's probably shit, don't get me wrong.
To a point, let's be clear.
Yeah, no, literally Duke Nukem, yeah. Literally, it's probably gonna be shit because Duke Nukem has got a shit character that is basically based off of, you know...
Every dude bro stereotype.
Yeah. Shit jokes and stereotypes. But... it's not edgy. Unless you made it like some sort of dark version of Duke Nukem. Then it's edgy and you're
I was gonna say, a dark version... Hold on. There could be untapped comedy potential in a with the author being self-aware that a dark Duke Nukem is both stupid and edgy.
And his name is Nuke Dukem.
Yes. And he has a terrible goatee.
Yes, of course.
And every time he
smokes two cigars, one on each side of the mouth.
Yeah. And whenever he walks, there must be literal puppies underfoot for him to kick.
Yep, exactly.
Like, that's that has comedy potential. But terrible jokes aside, first of all, Devil Spidey, have you watched SAO Abridged? Because that's fantastic.
Oh, yes. To everyone that is watching this, or will watch this, immediately, if you have not already, Google something witty entertainment and watch SAO Abridged. Because, by God, it is better than SAO. And on top of that, they are planning on doing every single season of SAO into an abridged season.
And it's damn hilarious, too.
They got fucking Takahata, and probably the best voice actor for Kirito in existence. No, Devil Spidey, I don't watch the Bridge series either. Sit down, watch it. It is everything that Sal could have been.
Like, look, you understand that we are people who spend our weeks looking for trash. This is not trash.
This gets the not trash stamp of approval. Anyway, so, what else we got here? We got, Harry Potter and the Wizard. Young Harry is abandoned in Japan and met a group of people who would not only give him a family, but change his life forever. Which I am assuming implies, meaning he gets hollified as well? Question mark?
Well, I assume as much because this is Harry Potter Bleach. But I also wanna take a moment to examine the rest of his profile. He has challenges.
Okay.
I noticed there aren't a lot of good crossovers in this category, so I decided to make a challenge. All of some anime plus 2 other people get sent to Yokai Academy and attend school there. Once again, demonstrating a clear lack of understanding about what's supposed to happen in Yokai Academy. Oh lord, what's this Code Geass one?
Okay, actually, anal tears, yes. Actually, how much do you know of Negima?
Nothing.
Okay, a large portion of the supposedly human class Negi was supposed to teach at this supposedly human school turned out to not be fucking human in the slightest.
Okay, that's fine then.
Yeah,
That's
one was literally a demon, one was literally a swordsman sworn to kill that demon's lineage, and neither of them knew. One was a ghost, one was a robot, one was a vampire cursed to be chained to that school for eternity by Negi's father.
Alright, you know what? I need to go watch this. Moving on.
Negima is a amazing manga. It's an okay anime. But the main problem is that there was a scare in Japan at one point where the Japanese government was considering making the property, the intellectual property and patents and whatever else could be applied to manga and anime. They were thinking about making that owned by everyone that was working on it, instead of just the mangaka or, you know, the writer.
Yeah.
And so this also meant, like, even the producers would have say in what direction the anime / manga would take, and could tell the writer / mangaka what direction it needs to take.
Yeah.
Obviously, this terrified the shit out of a lot of mangaka and anime writers. And to the point where a significant number of them shut down their series. Negima was one of these series that got shut down out of fear and protest.
And Anyway,
so
moving
unfortunately, the ending was very unsatisfactory, but overall was a fantastic read.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, point is, it would work. Sort of. Lots to go, a lot of background in there, and you would have to get very,
Yeah.
Deus Ex Machina with some of it, but...
Fine, but moving on.
Follows Mangaverse, okay, fair enough. Starts at the end of... But before the epilogue... What? Okay, so this is where I do have a problem with it. So the end of Negima, Negi and his class are fucking ridiculously overpowered at this point.
Uh-huh.
Because they defeated the final big bad who literally had the power to wipe out a planet. Not Earth!
Gotcha.
Mars!
Completely
He was wiping out Mars.
What the hell did Mars do to him?
It had an entire, like, Earth-sized population of magical people and civilizations on it. Because that's where all the magic on Earth went to, besides, like, little tiny holdouts. Is they're like, oh shit, we gotta get the fuck out of here before technology finds us, so they made a portal to Mars.
Interesting. Anyway, let's just move on. Let's move on to the terrible story.
Yeah.
Because we're almost done for the night.
So terrible story. Which one do we want to do? Harry Potter and the Visor?
Of course, because that one was updated. What I think we should do is I think we should finish the stream out doing an old favorite of ours. Read the first chapter, then jump to the most recent chapter to see if they've gotten any better.
And yeah, we did say Japan. Devil Spidey. I'm not sure what it has to do with anything. Almost done. Yeah, no, this stream goes roughly about 2 hours, and then we'll probably go play some Dota and then commit suicide. You know, it's normal night.
Well, I'm gonna get food, but yeah.
Oh no. Okay, really? For inspiration, okay, so, I actually recognize a large portion of these stories, because they're all fucking fantastic and you should all go read them. Specifically Lupine Horror's Fate's Gamble, which is an amazing Harry Potter, Fate Stay universe crossover. Fucking ridiculously long, though. I think it's, like, almost over 1 million words. So that's a thing. Protector's Pride is a fabulous Bleach story. What if question when it comes to if Ichigo died and became a hollow instead. Like right at the start of the Bleach timeline.
Actually, if you can just send me the links for those when we're done, just drop them in chat.
Yeah. History's Strongest Magister, I believe that's a crossover between Strongest Disciple and Harry Potter, obviously. I believe I've read A Mother's Love Beyond Life and Death as well, and I believe that was a bit cracky, but I overall enjoyed it. Maybe. I know I do not have that favorited or followed, so it might be something else I'm thinking of. But by the basis of the stories I do recognize, probably should go check out the rest of the stories he's mentioned for some good shit.
Anyway, but we're not here for good stuff. We're here for trash.
It was nighttime in Karakura Town when a rental car pulled up to a curb and a young boy around 6 years old was shoved out onto the sidewalk. The people in the car ignored the boy's cries and drove off, leaving him alone in the empty street. The boy, whose name was Harry Potter, walked through the streets, wondering what he did to be abandoned like this.
Okay. I've got several problems so far.
Go on.
Okay. Now, you know what? I'm gonna wait till after we're done with the flashback before I rant, so that I can be sure I've gotten all the information. Let's go.
Yep. Until we turn off rant mode. It was supposed to be a typical day for young Harry Potter. He woke up early to prepare his relatives' breakfast and get started on his chores, but he found them all packed up for a trip. Okay. First off, flying to Japan from fucking Britain is a little bit more than a day's flight, sir.
Yeah.
Boy, we're going on a trip, said Harry's uncle, Vernon Dursley. Vernon was a large man that resembled a walrus and was quite round. His wife, Petunia, was the opposite of him and was quite thin and sort of resembled a giraffe. Oh my god, just fucking copy and paste it to every story, why don't you? And it's not even giraffe. He even fucking got the reference wrong. It's horse. She's typically compared to a horse in both canon, in the actual books, and in the fanfiction. It's only mentioned like once in the actual books, and like 10 billion times in fanfiction, but not fucking giraffes. Their son was almost as big as his father, and was spoiled so much he would probably be fatter than him. Usually they didn't care for Harry and force him to do hard chores around the house. I'll be sure to take care of the chores, said Harry. You're coming with us, said Vernon. I don't trust you alone in my house. Harry was surprised at this. He would have run to start packing, but he really had nothing to pack, so he followed his relatives out into the door.
Okay, look, I understand that he had nothing. I understand that they didn't give Harry a lot, but I'm pretty sure he clearly had a suitcase, and he clearly would have brought some extra clothes for a trip to Japan.
Yeah.
Because even if the Dursleys have already planned on ditching him...
And then the Dursleys bent him over and repetitively gave him anal tears.
Oh, don't.
Anal tears. Anal tears.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway. But like I said, this is what, 6-year-old Harry? Yeah, 6-year-old Harry.
Yep.
He wasn't always the sharpest tack, but I'm pretty sure he'd ask a question about why he's not supposed to bring any luggage to a trip to somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
Especially after they get to the airport. Also, I'm not sure why you've ended the flashback when there's still flashbacking that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Anal tears do not happen before the trip to Japan. It goes against Japanese law. Wow. So, what I'm hearing, Devil Spidey, is that we should have nuked them a third time.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I just want the internet to know that Devil Spidey here has said we should nuke Japan 5 times. That's a lucky number, according to him.
Just keep reading.
Hiyori led Harry through the back roads of Karakura town until they reached some old abandoned buildings.
Hold up. You've skipped some stuff, Sneaky.
Have I, really? Oh, so I have. After that, they had driven to an airport and taken a direct flight to Tokyo, driven a rental car to a small town named Karakura. Oh yeah! Just a direct flight to Tokyo, and then they just drove to Karakura.
Now, is Karakura a real town, or does it have a real-world analog? Because I kind of want to Google Maps this.
I do not believe Karakura actually has a real-world analog. You can certainly search for it.
All right, because I'm like, first of all, you've taken a trip to Japan. Now, even if you're in England, so you're somewhat closer than say America. That's not a short trip.
Actually, America's
depending on
quicker.
what coast it's further.
No. It's actually quicker. At
Right.
least last I checked, because I actually was planning on going on a trip to Japan.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah. I mean, it really depends on what kind of flight you take. If it's like a direct flight, then obviously it's gonna be quicker, but those are a bit more expensive.
Fucking sneaky, man. You should be fired. Sadly, we can't do that yet.
Bitch, I own you.
We're saving firing him until we're popular so that we can make a drama breakup video to really capitalize on the money before it goes downhill.
Yep, basically that. Don't tell anyone though. No one will look this far into the archives.
Indeed. But you're in England.
It is at least a England to Tokyo flight. Okay, hold on. We have to get Google Maps for this.
Yep. By the power of Google Maps. We're gonna do our research live on stream, boys.
We're just that skilled. Fucking Christ, 2000. Yeah, okay, so 13 hours.
Okay.
But you are traveling, oh, actually, wait a second. You're actually past the Greenland line, so you're traveling further into the future?
No, okay, no, but here's the thing. Regardless, it's a 13-hour flight.
Well, basically what I'm saying is, if they're leaving in the morning, as they've so described, basically,
because he's getting up to make breakfast,
then for every time zone they pass, they'll be moving an hour further. Also, at the same time, an hour will pass. So if, like, roughly 26 hours would have been moved ahead, quote-unquote. Or not even, maybe not 26, but that's like, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. 23-ish hours will be... No, there's no magic involved in this. This is just straight up planes, boy.
Yeah.
So about 20-hour time difference will have occurred.
When you say, these are the Dursleys ditching Harry Potter, so it's just a plane.
So if it's, in the morning, they're going to be arriving there at, like, fuck all at nighttime. Like 10 p.m. or something, right? Or like 2 a.m. or something. So then they're going to take a car and drive to Karakura for 13 hours? Because they drop Harry Potter off at nighttime. And the way the story is written is they're implying that Harry Potter only went straight from Tokyo to Karakura and then got dumped.
Yeah.
And we know the flight originally took place in the morning because Harry was talking about breakfast.
Well, I was going to say, did it ever say in the books what time he had to get up to make them breakfast? Like,
early
6 a.m.?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so assuming you can... Let's say, the fastest they can get to Heathrow through what would, certainly be... I'm trying to think. Rush hour traffic, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, on top of that, so say they went really early to avoid rush hour traffic. Say they did everything in their power to not hit any traffic, and they slept on the flight, so they had full energy to drive. Just hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
Harry gets dropped off at nighttime. Basically, 6 p.m. or later. Which means 6 hours plus, give or take, 10-ish. So that's around a 16-hour drive. I don't think Japan... okay, so let's say... Okay, clear measurements. Let's say we go from Kumanto...
Because we're just making stuff up right now.
No, I'm
There's not a
I'm
real
actually
world
in a
anymore.
plant. I'm actually okay. So what's the far Murazuki? Okay, to the far from one side of Japan to the other. I want to see how long Google says it would estimate it take with a car. So Amori, directions, and Ibisuki. It would take roughly 13 hours, 22 hours to drive the fastest route. From one part of Japan to the other, as in a car only. No ferries, nothing. So 22 hours. That's from one end of Japan to the entire other. Surprisingly, it takes 10 less hours if you take the train.
Interesting. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because...
But Tokyo is in the middle of Japan. So if they land in Tokyo, it is physically impossible to have taken a 16 plus hour drive. Because Tokyo is in the middle of Japan. So, fucking hell. Let's even go with Ibisuki to Tokyo. Actually, okay. Actually, the farthest point in Japan takes literally, precisely, 16 hours from Tokyo to the farthest point in Japan. So unless Karakura is right next to Ibisuki, and at that point, they would have just fucking taken a plane from Tokyo to the lower part of Japan after they've landed on their one stop trip. No stop trip. You know? They would have just taken a plane to get to the other part, or they would have taken something else. They wouldn't have driven. So, my point is, really? Wow. Only $300? Wow. That is actually really cheap, all things considered, for a surprise booking. For the train in Japan.
Yeah.
Anyway. But anyway, my point being, the times are fucked. Anyway, watch it. It's fucking Hiyori. Or, yeah, Hiyori. Well, she's a short thing in a jogging suit and lollybait. Whoa.
Now, why is she finding... First of all, she wouldn't give a damn.
No, she wouldn't. You're not from
You could have
around
picked.
here. Who
I mean,
are
say you could have
you?
picked many of the Vizards,
Yeah,
many of them,
not who you
who
are.
would have given a damn.
Yeah.
Continue.
Where are your parents? They died in a car crash. You're an orphan. You're English. So how'd you get to Karakura? My uncle and aunt took me on a trip and they left me here. I'm sorry to hear about that. Hey, you must be hungry. Why don't you follow me? Alright, by the way, I'm Hiyori Sarugaki. What's yours? I'm Harry Potter.
Correct me
Hiyori
if
let
I'm wrong. I'm pretty
Harry.
sure she never spoke English or any of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure none of them ever even needed to learn English, so. Hiyori led Harry through the back roads until they came to an old
Here's the thing.
building.
Like, maybe you could get away with the quote-unquote the main cast, like Ichigo, Chad, Uryu, those guys. You could probably get away with them knowing some English, because it's a pretty common thing these days for children in Japan to have at least some English classes. But a Vizard who's been around for hundreds of years and has been basically fucking around Japan the entire time? No.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Carry on. You there, buddy?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I just discovered what a baby flamingo looks like.
For fuck's sake, finish the story so we can leave. Sneaky.
I'm sorry.
Stop looking at the baby flamingo.
It's disturbing me.
I'm aware.
Who's the kid? He's named Harry Potter. Why'd you bring him here? I felt sorry for him. She wouldn't have blushed. No, yeah, especially not the fucking her.
Yeah, she'd be like, I felt
Yeah,
sorry
fuck
for
off.
him. Feed him.
She literally would have been saying fuck off to that one.
Yeah.
Hiyori, what do we do with him? He's already seen too much. Why not keep him, says Mashiro. He's not a pet. Actually, it sounds like a bad idea, says the blonde man. You can't be serious, Rose. You mean keeping him as a pet, but the kid is all alone. Why not let him stay here? Talking about giving him a family. He's a normal kid. Is that a good idea?
What? Where is this coming from?
This is really fucking out of character. No, this child is not normal. What are you saying, Hachi? He is filled with energy, similar to Ryatsu. It flows from his core.
Okay.
Error!
You expect...
Headcanon alert. Core is not a thing. That is completely fanon. Do not use it. It is stupid. Now, I've seen some really awesome stories based on the idea of a magic core, and literally the entire story was about the magic core, and those were good because they like went all fucking out on it. But I fucking hate stories that are just like, oh yeah, he's got a core, and then hand wave it off as the reason why the bullshit is bullshit.
Yeah, but even leaving that aside, Jesus Christ. Okay, so again, completely out of character for pretty much all the Vizards.
Yep.
None of them would care.
Yep.
Maybe Hachi would care.
Yeah.
Hachi would feel sorry for it.
Mashiro might be like, we have to be a hero for him, but that really, I don't think that would extend to taking him in and feeding him and giving him a family. Maybe like getting him to the cops or the orphanage or something.
I'd say Shinji wouldn't care. Rose wouldn't care.
No.
Also,
yeah, no.
the Vizards have been around for years and years and years. They're all part Soul Reaper.
Yeah.
Hachi is a master practitioner of what is essentially magic in the Soul Society.
Well, I mean, see, the thing is like, not only are they part Soul Reaper, they're part Hollow, part Soul Reaper, and were they... No, they weren't given bodies. No, they straight up are just living in the human world as half Soul Reaper, half Hollows. They don't actually have bodies.
Yeah.
Which is why they get away with living in an abandoned warehouse, because no one can see them go in or leave it.
Yeah. But so you have all that. But so you're telling me that, first of all, the magic, which we know for sure exists over the entire continent of Europe and in America.
Yep.
Did they ever cover... Oh, and Egypt, yeah. For sure, Egypt. I'm sure there's one in... I'm sure there's magic in the other parts of the... Like, I'm sure it's in Japan, and I'm sure it's in China. Maybe it goes by different names, but I'm sure it's there, and I'm sure the societies are aware of each other.
Mm-hmm.
If for no other reason than, hey, so we're not trying to tell you this, Wizarding Britain, but a Chinese dragon might be showing up, so we're sending some people to deal with the problem.
Well, I mean, there's the International Confederacy of Wizards, which implies there's more than just Europe in it.
Yeah.
But even aside from that, Fanon typically either portrays China and Japan's magical systems as, like, China typically gets portrayed as dead. As, like, they just went in and slaughtered them all because they were too, like, public. And so they're like, we must enforce the statute of secrecy, and they just killed all the fucking Chinese.
Okay.
And then Japan's like, oh, well, Japan's really weird, and they don't think it's real anyway. So... No, Japan's magic is not called hentai.
I was just gonna gloss over that one. Anyway. But again, you're telling me that the Soul Society wouldn't know about, like...
Yes, I actually would believe the Soul Society not knowing about magic. Mostly because the Soul Society is filled with a bunch of fumbling idiot elitists.
Okay. Maybe, but... Like, surely the Visors, in their hundreds of years, living in the real world.
Not really, because again, the Visors were kind of just like, yeah, we're just gonna kind of chill behind this barrier, so no Soul Reaper will ever find us. And that's about it.
I mean, they still went out. They got lots of books and things. Like...
Well, again, that also could have been ordered. But, okay, so we are still skipping the most important part of all this.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter takes place in a time period of roughly 10 years behind when Bleach takes place.
No, probably a little bit more.
No, because Harry Potter's like 94, and Bleach is taking place in around 2005.
I don't know. I think it's a little further ahead. But yeah, whatever. Point is...
Well, I say 2005 because flip phones are still the big thing. Like the Nokia flip phone.
Yeah, true. But, like, still, yes. Yeah. There is a significant gap.
What are you saying? Seems like the right thing to do. Let's ask him. Harry, we've been talking. Do you want to live with us? Sure, kid. We'll be your family. Let's all introduce ourselves. Wow. Fuck off and die. Everyone can just fuck off and die. Everyone, please, take this time tonight. Look a loved one into the eye and say... I don't know, something.
We're done.
Alright, and with that we conclude this bi-weekly Fanfiction Contempt Theater. If you enjoyed this for some reason, an archive will be available on our YouTube page, which you can reach on the panel below. Or you can...
Contains the rest of these dumpster fires.
Yes. If you want to catch future installments of such magnificent quality, production quality, everyone, this production quality, then you can join us on Tuesday and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or you can catch me not doing fanfiction and generally doing games like Salt and Sanctuary and Dishonored 2, Extreme Fuck Off and Die Edition, whenever I feel like it around 12 p.m. Eastern every day. You are reaching the 1% of fanfiction read in the website. Not sure what you mean by that, but yeah, Dota's coming up next. Good night, everybody!